Welcome. In front of me says Samsung Galaxy S20 Ultra, and today I'll go over an unboxing along with a brief overview and some opinions about the device. So getting started, this is the box that it comes in, and right off the bat I'll mention that the device was already set up and used for a bit, so I have some kind of opinion about it, but that is basically how everything will look, almost. So number one, let's pop it open, and inside, as always, you have these paperwork from Samsung below, or well, above in the case, that are a nightmare to get out. There we go. And from here, SIM tool, some trashy paperwork. Right off the bat that I will say, also, shame there is no case for the device, considering in 2020 a lot of the flagship, at least the Chinese ones, even though there might be a little bit cheaper, they included a case. Might have not been the best case, but it's a case nonetheless, which here for $1,500 or $1,400 I feel like a case would have been a nice add-on, especially when you're paying that much for the device. And well, there's the phone, so let me just set it onto the side for now. And inside we have I think it's a 45-watt charger with a USB to USB-C. Both ends are USB-C. So majority of the newer Samsung devices started doing this, so you can't use the A to C chargers, at least, well, not the cable for it, if you're planning to use this brick right here. Apart from that, in the box you also have a charging cable, which is, well, there we go. So there's the charging cable, USB to USB-C for the brick, and then the AKG headphones, as well, they started implementing them. So yeah, again, $1,500. Would have liked to see earbuds, the wireless ones, but whatever. Kind of disappointed in this case, but it is what it is. So from here, let's pop in the phone. As you can see, it's already set up. These are just the plasticky thing that you can peel off, so don't worry. Bring up the brightness to max it out. There we go. And let's change the wallpaper to something a little bit more vibrant and colorful. Let's go with this. Set it to both. There we go. So as you can see, the main part of the display, would be the display itself. It's a 6.9-inch display with a resolution, or max resolution, of 1440 by 2300 or 3200, the other way. So yeah, 3200, and the display has a 120 Hz refresh rate, as long as you're using a 1080p resolution. It will not support the high refresh rate on the maximum resolution. So if you're planning to have these butter smooth animations and just this gorgeous use of the 120 Hertz refresh rate, you will have to drop down the resolution. Now personally, I don't really see much of a difference in the resolution, but I most certainly do see a significant difference in how everything feels when you're just even pulling the menu down. So in my opinion, the refresh rate would be better to be at 120 than 60, but that's my personal opinion. And when it comes down to the display density, it's 511 pixels per inch with the 89.9% screen to body ratio. Then apart from that, the key specifics of this device is there kind of a huge camera sensor of 108 megapixels, 5000 milliamp battery, and 12 or 16 gigabytes of RAM with the Exynos 990. And in terms of the cameras on the back, you have well, quite a few of them. As you can see, hopefully, maybe bring up, nope, that doesn't help. But yeah, you have 4 different sensors. So you have the main one, which is the 108 megapixel wide sensor. Then you have a 48 megapixel periscope, which is this little embedded one right here that looks like it's kind of sunken. And I just light. No, it wasn't even visible in the screen. So the other lenses is also a 12 megapixel ultra wide lens and a 0.3 time of flight 3D depth sensor. And when it comes down to recording and capturing photos, well, photos you can bring up, I believe, to like 8K, and footage you have the same option. So we can record on this device 8K footage at 24 frames only, but if you drop it down to 4K, then you can do at 30 and 60, so you have that nice 60 frames, smooth. Then if you plan to drop it even lower, you have 30, 60, and also a slow motion of 240. And if you drop it down even lower to 720p, you have a ultra slow motion at 960 frames, with I believe might be the ability to even drop it lower. Let me quickly check. If we go to more super slow-mo, so right now, where is it? We can see all the resolutions right here. So you have the 4K, but for some reason I don't see the 8K at the moment. Whatever. Trying to figure out what the frame rate is set to. But I can't really seem to actually get the can't really see the options for it. Maybe it needs to update or something. Because normally it should give you what the frame rate is, somehow change it. And there is a bunch of frame rates. There's 240 and 960, and I don't see any option for me to actually choose at the moment, which is really kind of annoying. Oh well. So I guess you'll either have to take my word for it, look for it yourself, or just disregard that option. And apart from that, on the front you have a 40 megapixel wide sensor that again shoots. Let's see what it does. Probably will be easier way to open it up. Go back, flip it over, and go into video. There we have a bunch of resolutions. So 1:1, full. So this is just changing the aspect ratio, and okay, I was actually I think looking at the wrong one. So here we got the 4K 60, and this is for the front. So this would be right now at 4K. Yeah. So as you can see, there is the option, and apart from that, the devices have a couple options in terms of storages. So it can come with a 128 gigabytes, 256 gigabytes, or 512. Now the two first one, the 128 and 256, will always come with a 12 gigabytes of RAM, while the 512 gigabyte storage will come with 16 gigabytes of RAM. And I believe this is probably designed partially for the use of the DeX, I think it's called, where you just slap the phone on there like a dock and you can use it with a display like a computer. Because otherwise I don't really see a reason for so much RAM, honestly. And then the build quality of the device. You have glass front and back, and it's a Gorilla 6 glass and aluminum frame, just I guess the typical Samsung design. The edges are significantly less curved than you probably are used to from previous devices. It seems like they're trying to back out of this design at the moment. So these are, I would say they're basically not even curved. So yeah, if you're, for instance, comparing it to something like a Huawei P30 Pro, these had similar curves to like, Galaxy, I think it was S8. This basically seems almost flat comparing to the previous devices. It's still a little bit rounded, as you can see maybe from the side. It has the tiny bit of round, but it's as minimal as it can possibly get. So yeah, the battery is dying, so hopefully I can finish this at 16%, so it should last. So I did mention that there is 5000 milliamps battery, and when it comes down to charging it, you can charge it at 45 watts fast charging with the brick that it's provided, or do a 15 watt fast charging if you have a supported charger, the Qi charger, those circle ones that you just swap the phone, and it will be wirelessly charging at 15 watts. Now, it's nothing really mind-blowing. There are devices right now that cost actually less and charge twice as fast on the wireless charging, so this seems kind of like a downgrade, I would say. But yeah, if you're planning to charge it solely wirelessly, it's not the best or the fastest way to do it. And what else is there to say? With the storage that you get, also the 128 to 512. All those storages come with a UFS 3.0. That's just a better storage, similar to something like an SSD. So anything that you will try to put on the device or copy from it will be done faster than on a typical normal storage, flash storages of like all the other smartphones. So yeah, the newer devices are using the UFS, and it's a really good storage. And then when it comes down to operating system, obviously it's Android. It comes with an Android 10 with a One UI 2. It's like the second version of it, and it's just a typical Samsung skin. If you use the already One UI, it's basically the same thing. Nothing really changed here, or nothing that I can really see. And the only defining feature right now is just the refresh rate on here. That will make everything feel just better. And when it comes down to price of the device, like I said, it's fairly expensive. It costs $1,400, exactly $1,399.99, and that is for the base version of 128 gigabyte version and 12 gigs of storage, 5G. So honestly, I feel like the phone is a little bit overpriced. I know it's Samsung and it's kind of becoming a cult, also like a Apple, but it's becoming a little bit ridiculous with the prices. You could go for a lower ones, the S20 Plus or S20, and they're basically as good. Also have share a lot of the similarities with this one. The only difference is in cameras and just the size of the phone itself. The S20 Plus, you don't have the periscope lens, and well, same as the S20. But both of them are also great phones. In certain cases might be better depending on what you need from your phone, but they're cheaper, which to me seems like a good trade-off, because I don't think this phone is worth $1,400. It might be a really good phone, but it's not that good. And one last thing that I wanted to show, that it would come in terms of photo, just a little test that I do for night photos, really, because in the environment that I have right here, I can't really get any good examples of HDR and stuff like that, and the phone itself already does them really well, so it wouldn't be really much to show. But in terms of night photos, I think a lot of devices do vary in terms of the quality and how they're performing the night photo. So let me just quickly pop the lights off, and we're just gonna capture a couple of photos with it. So this little thing that I just dropped actually glows, as you probably won't see. So let me pop the screen off on the back. There we go. And let's just go into camera. If I can actually even launch it, flip it over. Go to more, and where is the night? There we go. And you can probably see it's glowing. So I'm just going to capture one photo. I already have done a couple runs of it, and it seems like a really hard kind of object for the cameras to capture in a really good way. So you can see the resolution is really nice. You kind of lose a little bit of detail on the bottom. It just becomes blurry mess. And honestly, this is the best I could possibly capture right now. But when it comes down to it, for instance, something like a P30 Pro will take ages better and more detailed photos of something like this. And I even did a little bit of a shot on my device. Here you don't have much of control over the night mode. You just kind of go into it and it will start capturing in night mode. But for instance, on the Mate series, that's my device, that's why I'm kind of bringing it up. You do have more control, and you can, for instance, bring up way more light to it, making it look like it's almost daytime on it. And overall, it seemed like it was doing a little bit of a, maybe not this photo, but you can see comparing it to, let me just bring up the brightness. So you can compare these two. In terms of the brightness, the image right here is completely brighter than this one. So in all honesty, probably this would look a little bit more close. But it just really depended how I took the photo. At this moment, my older device seems to be doing worse photos. So in terms of the Mate 20 Pro, it wins. But when you bring up a newer version of Huawei, which I'm bringing that up because they primarily try to go for the best cameras, it does lose in quality. Mate 20 or P20 Pro captures way more detail in it and isn't kind of confused about the brightness of the object in like the dark area. But yeah, in terms of those normal photos, this does amazing photos, obviously. Has a couple ways of doing stabilization and all that stuff, so yeah. That probably would be it about the camera. Apart from the night mode, it's a great camera. But then Samsung usually struggled with just the night mode. At least now you have the option to, when you go into the camera, to go into a night mode, which, if you probably remember previous ones, it would be based on AI, and if AI detects that the environment is dark, it will then turn it on automatically, but you had no way of doing that yourself. So it's a nice improvement that you can actually enable it now yourself. And now just finishing off the overview of this, we're just going to go over a look of the device all around. So on the left side, just a clean back, clean side with antenna band, top, SIM tray along with an SD tray. You do have an expandable storage, so that's a great plus, and it takes a normal SD card, so thumbs up. Then on the right side, volume rockers, power key, or as Samsung calls it, side key, even though it's located on the same side as the volume rockers and they're not called side keys. Then bottom, you have a speaker grill, as you can see right here. Under here you have the charging port, microphone, and that's about it. On the back, just a clean design, Samsung brand, and just this massive camera array right here. And if you're wondering, it does kind of wobble on here. It doesn't really stand or stay still. That's because of this unwieldy camera bump. And also another reason why I think they should have added the case for this device. And yeah, so on the front, as you can see, it's a fairly minimalistic design on the front. Minimal bezels, tiny little camera cutout right here, and that's it. And when it comes down to microphone, or not microphone, but the speaker piece, I believe it's either somewhere in here. I think it's like right here, but I can barely even see it. You can see it maybe in like a cutout, but it's not even noticeable, honestly. Usually you can see where there is a speaker grill. Here it's so small that you don't even get to see it really. And yeah, so that'll basically conclude the unboxing along with the overview of the device. And like I said previously, it's a fairly expensive device, and personally I would go for the lower tier ones like S20 Plus or S20 and lose on the periscope lens, but I'm not planning to zoom in 50 times to spy on my neighbors, so that's just me. And the price for what you get, in my opinion, just isn't really, I wouldn't benefit from it that much. But you know, to each their own. You might actually need a device like this. And yeah, other than that, it's a really well-made phone, as well Samsung should be, a flagship one especially. And yeah, so if you found this very helpful, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and thanks for watching.